How long can you speak about sales?
I don't think there's an end to it.
So why can you speak endlessly, but when you put the camera on for 60 seconds, you can't say anything?
Because there's a camera in front of my face.
This is actually the biggest constraint.
So I want to write something down for you, and I want to explain you how this works, okay? We're here with Maisha today. She's going to explain more about personal branding, things she does with her friends, like great activities, and she wants to know more about how to build a profitable personal brand. So I'm excited to hear more.
So I'm great at sales, and right now I'm doing it on the side. And typically I'm getting my clients through referrals, but I'm looking to want to be able to scale that and expand it.
Are the girls on the side, are they your friends? They're also in sales, or
they're my friends, but they don't know much about sales, so I try and explain it to them. But yeah, those are my friends. It's just a side.
Talk to me more about your current income and how you...
So right now I'm at around 16,000 a month. For me, I want to focus more on women personal brands.
When did you realize you wanted to make that transition from just closing to actually making impact, building a personal brand?
So I realized that the second I started learning sales, because I learned how impactful it was for me. So I wanted to utilize that skill to start to teach other women in sales as well.
And you're also excited sharing this experience with them
yes,
as well.
Absolutely.
Why did you get into sales? Let's start from the beginning.
So I got into sales because I wanted to learn more about how to be able to communicate. I feel like sales is a skill set you can learn outside of just your job. And so for me, it was, okay, I can utilize this skill set and actually be able to communicate outside of just my job itself, and build more connections, learn how to empathize more, and learn how to understand other people and their perspective as well. So I do what I love, but I know that I'm capable of so much more when it comes to this industry. So I want to be able to expand on what I do on a broader range.
When did you realize you're capable of doing more? What does that mean to you, doing so much more?
Because I started from scratch, like I didn't know anything about sales. So the moment I learned how to be able to utilize what I learned through all the hard work that I put in, I realized that I can utilize all of my skill set, and understand that, okay, there's so much more to this than just, let me just learn a script or let me just hear back a call of mine. It was, I can use this to be able to impact more people on a bigger scale as well, as I mentioned.
You've been in sales for a longer time, so now you feel like also it's been very consistent. You've been earning a lot of money with it. So you genuinely feel ready to the next step. As you describe, I want to turn my skill into a profitable personal brand.
Yeah.
And just take it to the next level.
Exactly.
This is going to happen for sure. You're going to create a very successful personal brand. But let's now think about what impact that you'll create if that happened. How would you feel?
I feel like that's what I'm so capable of. And that's what I have been struggling with in terms of being able to scale and expand. So for me to have that opportunity to be able to help other people and help other women would be so impactful, to be able to, prove to myself as well that, okay, I was able to accomplish this, but from a perspective of, look at all these other people that were also able to receive the help too.
If you would paint that picture, how would that picture look like? Ideal picture.
Like in terms of what my long-term goals are and like how I would feel with
how do you view making impact? How do you view building your brand? Where do you want to be, and how do you picture that for yourself?
I feel like it would be a whole community, like a community where people can feel safe to be able to communicate, have an opportunity to network and connect with more women as well in the space.
Kind of like a relaxed environment for them to feel,
Yeah, for sure. Because I feel like also when we think of sales, sometimes it can feel more male dominated. Whereas when it comes to a woman's perspective, they can learn how to be able to communicate more. And it doesn't have to be from like an angle of like being pushy or like super salesy, but more so, embracing more of that feminine side, but through communication and sales.
So to me, it seems like you've been thinking about it quite a lot, and you're passionate about sales, and you want to now, use that same ability to help others do the same. I guess what was the main thing holding you back from starting sooner?
Since it's on the side right now, and since I'm just doing closing at the moment and I don't have my own personal clients, I want to be able to get to the point where I understand what skill sets it specifically takes to be able to scale and expand. So it wasn't necessarily that I didn't want to. Number one, I didn't understand what steps to take to do that. Number two, I wanted to make sure that I was actually great at what I do first before I taught other people.
Talk to me about your current problems.
So for me, I feel insecure showing up even though I have the results to back me up. So essentially, even if I'm in front of a camera, I freeze up and I don't know how to really properly communicate or articulate what I want to communicate. I would love some help to be able to get that guidance, because I want to get past that piece of feeling insecure, especially when I'm in front of a camera.
The interesting thing is you already have a massive personal brand, right?
I do, but it's nothing to do with actual sales. And I get to really be particular about what I post as opposed to, being consistent with the content calendar.
And is it fair to say that every single day you wake up and your main focus is sales, right? Closing deals, probably speaking to the team, managing some sales teams, I'm assuming. Is that what you do day in, day out?
Exactly, yeah. So I eat, sleep, breathe sales.
Okay. So that's the main thing that's happening during the day, but I'm assuming you don't document it.
Exactly.
What is very interesting is without just creating new content on the site, which feels like a whole new business and experience, you can just document the work that you already do and make that the start of building your personal brand.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what I would do if I would be in your shoes.
But it's also a pretty difficult switch to allow you naturally capturing yourself. It's not like not everybody can do it easily.
Yeah. And I feel like that's where I struggle, is that it doesn't come to me easy when I get in front of a camera. So I basically have the skill and freedom. I just don't know how to grow it or take it to the next level.
Hey, what have you tried so far to build strategy? Have you tried anything yet?
I've done some cold outreach. I tried to buy an email list and it didn't work. I don't think I really understood. Well, number one, it was taking up way too much of my time. I got some referrals, but I wasn't able to close the deals as... It's not that I don't know how to close, but I feel like the clientele wasn't my ideal client. So I don't feel like referral is something where I can properly rely on. I would rather have a way or a proper strategy to create something that's predictable.
Those who helped you in the past, have given you some information, might some knowledge. Why do you feel like you weren't able to apply that accurately to actually build something sustainable? Do you feel like there was something lacking specifically, or do you feel like it was a level of accountability, support?
I don't feel like it was a level of accountability. I feel like it was the lack of support or from their understanding what I really needed. I don't think they fully understood that I needed a proper system. It was more so here's one thing, but that one thing wasn't able to solve the entire problem for me. So I didn't have a complete strategy.
What do you feel like is important to you? If you know your own situation currently, you know genuinely what you need, besides just strategy, right? You'll need support, you need accountability. What is important? What is it that you're looking for, which makes you believe that you can actually win?
I feel like the right kind of guidance, especially when I think about it from my perspective of teaching other women sales, I would want someone that I feel comfortable with and I actually have the right kind of support and guidance. I don't know what the specificities are in terms of what I would need. I feel like that's what I struggle with, is I don't have that clarity piece.
That's what we're packaging now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But having that guidance and that clarity would be important.
An interesting perspective is right now, most of your clients come through referrals, right? And there's two reasons why you keep getting referrals. Number one is you're most likely good at what you do. But number two is they genuinely like you specifically, right? So if we can reflect what's already happening into your content and not have to rely on cold outreach and utilize your profile and make content that attracts the right people, you'll not have to rely on cold outreach or referrals.
So how would I adjust my profile so that way, because I do have a specific amount of followers, but they didn't follow me because of what my career is, right? So how do I make that transition in terms of my content? Do I still post on that specific feed? Do I create a different page, or how would that work?
The most important thing is cover the 3 C's that we have, right? Like the headline and the bio needs to exist of 3 different C's. Maybe you can explain.
Yeah, of course. This is the thing. Right now you have 100,000 followers and the content that you've been creating has been attracting a different ICP or someone that's connected to the current content you're making. So hence why you probably cannot speak to your current audience. And we have a 3C step process in our bios where everyone that comes into your profile, they have an immediate understanding what you do. Right? So we like to say credibility as one line, meaning why are you credible to help others? We have clarity as well. So what exactly you help people with? And then with those 2 lines, what do we do with that information? It's a CTA, right? So do they go into the DMs? What do they do with the information you just gave them?
What is the direction? What is the path you show them to go to the next level of content? Because they get on your profile and they either like it or they don't. It's an easy decision to make based on how you present it. And the chances of increasing the fact that they'll like it is by its simplicity, is making it as easy as possible to understand it. And I think that is what a lot of women in this market do wrong that have personal brands. They're not clear enough in the way they help. Because the second factor is men need to sell logic, right? It's like to understand, to have the ability to get sales. But with women, it's emotion. It's a different thing. So when you naturally already have the skill, you can represent it way more clear and better on your profile to capture as much traffic. And one thing I want to add on that, you currently have a lot of followers, but you have to understand, and you need to keep this in your mind, you're starting from zero. The reason why is because you currently don't have an audience that would ever buy from you based on how you've built it up so far. So you're just like starting from zero, and because we don't have the right audience at the moment. But all these followers and the followers in your experience gives you already some credibility, which we can build off on. That's going to be very easy to do.
I wanted to go back to CTA as well. So when I'm posting content, how often do you guys feel like I should do CTA right away or build rapport first and then do CTA?
I'll answer this question because this question I get asked a lot.
Okay.
And I often get questions around how much should I do this? How many times should I do this? CTAs, posting content. And I like to say it's always based on what you need at this current moment in time, right? So if you're having issues with not having much inbounds coming into your DMs, then you know that you might need to utilize some more CTAs, right? If you understand that you are getting a lot of inbounds, but you're having issues with the quality and the ICP is not correct, then you need to understand, okay, maybe I shouldn't focus so much on creating a CTA. I should focus more on the intention of the content I'm making to attract the right ICP. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Because something is being sold from a more emotional perspective, right? Because you're in women niche. I think it's also very important to talk about aesthetics. Aesthetics is a very interesting topic. Maybe you want to talk about that. Why does a brand need to look representable? And what do women like when it comes down to selling certain elements in content?
Yeah, it's a good question because definitely it's the most valuable probably part of the women's brand because it's connected with emotions, with and with sales at the end as well. And it creates the first impression out of your about your profile in general, about your personality. That's also an interesting thing I wanted to add before. Current audience that you have already, they also have certain expectations about your personality in general. So that's why probably it's also difficult to convert them, even if you switch your content right now and you will start positioning your content slightly different. For them, it will be difficult to understand your new point because they already knew you from different perspective. And they're like, they used to see you as a different person.
Would you suggest I niche it down even more than just women, but have it more specific?
This is what you should do. You have two elements, verbal and visual. Verbal is the way you speak and the things that you say. And the way you verbally niche down is by saying, I help, I do, I X, right? Verbally, you speak to attract a specific type of person. You can speak to them directly, but you can also speak to their pain. That is a pain point that you can tackle. Meaning you can speak to these women in two different ways.
Yeah.
But you can also visually niche down. So what Max just said is very true because you want to represent a certain style in your content. So we have the way you dress and the things that you share and show. So that could be an object, that could be a background, that could be an environment, it could be a color. And on the second side, it's visual representation based on how you'd like to dress, right?
You know, the interesting thing as well, it's all about perspective, what you truly want to portray yourself as in your content. And the interesting thing is when you make content with intention, and people make content with actually thinking about what they want to create. So what I mean by that is you really need to understand who you want inside your profile, coming to your profile, who you want to attract, right? There's many different types of women and there's different segments of the market. So maybe someone lacks confidence, but they know that they have the ability to do great in sales, but they need someone like you to instill that confidence in them. There might be someone who is confident, but they have the constraint around, giving themselves the ability to be better at sales, right? And those two segments of the market would be different if you spoke differently in the content. Meaning you might attract one segment and you might attract another segment, depending on what you say with your words.
What we're gonna work on later on is the only way you can separate yourself from everybody else without having any competition is being authentically yourself. The only way to destroy competition is by being authentic, because you can't replicate it.
Right.
It's a very good point here as well, because you have the separation of the two P's, right? That you have competitors. There's people out there that help women in sales, right? And so what's going to be different? Not really anything. The deliverables will be probably the same. But what can be different is the person that sells the deliverables, right? So that's very, very important. What Max said is actually understanding how you can differentiate yourself from your competition and get people to like you for you, that no matter what your deliverables are, they would buy from you specifically.
I think that's very interesting, especially I feel like for me, a part of that insecurity is, okay, I want to be able to please everyone, right? But it's good to be able to repel an audience as much as you're attracting one as well.
With all the women that we've worked with so far, there's one main constraint, and I think that main constraint is perfectionism. So they start to create content and they start to like it and they're consistent. But after a while, you want to maintain that standard of consistency. And because you want to maintain that level, it requires a lot of work and input, meaning that perfectionism can kill you. And I think that's also a strength that we can use with the accountability and the support on knowing how we can use that power of consistency to break that pattern of perfectionism. Because ultimately consistency creates perfectionism by doing it long enough and reiterating on it.
Right, that makes sense. So for my content, basically, I've started posting, but I don't really know what to post or, again, like where to start with the posting.
Why do you feel like you don't know what to post?
I think it's just overwhelming. Like, I feel like I don't know where to start. Therefore, I don't really know what to post.
So the problem lies in clarity.
Yes.
Not knowing what to do because there's a paradox of choice. See, there's too many options.
And this is actually the biggest constraint, always. Knowing what to actually post, knowing what to actually record, even.
You might believe that there is a perfect way to follow, you just don't know the way yet, right? It's like you have all these options, because you have all these options in your own head, one of these options might be the right option.
Yeah, but you don't know
which one. And the fun fact is you'll never know which one because there is no right option.
And I also want to be genuinely impactful to women. I don't want to just be another content creator either.
Here we just come back with your personal, with your character. It's like, it's about yourself.
What have you seen so far from this industry that you don't like? Are there certain things you don't like, you don't want to represent? Like, how do you feel about that?
Sometimes people create false scarcity in the space that I feel like, or specific scripts that are curated. So I don't feel like we need to create false scarcity or pretend like I don't feel like we need to force the sale.
I'm genuinely curious because the first point that you made is you've started posting, but you don't really know what to post. I actually get clarity from your second point that says, I want my content to be genuinely impactful. Okay? So to me, it seems like you do know how you want to portray yourself. Okay? But I'm going to ask you a question. How do you want to portray yourself?
I want to be able to speak to the few, understand that this space takes hard work to become successful in it.
Okay.
And I want others to be able to see me as someone that genuinely has worked hard to be able to create that life for myself. So basically in this space, what I dislike is the fact that a lot of the times with the marketing almost advertises that you can make money overnight. And that's a vibe that I want to avoid. I want to be able to be authentic towards the fact that there's a lot of ebbs and flows in this space. And you have to be super level-headed, and it's a lot of hard work to be able to get to where you want to.
Why do you think it's important to represent and describe that message consistently to women?
It's important because it's about finding a balance too. Like, you don't have to work 16, 17-hour days, but also it's important to convey that message because at the end of the day, I'd rather be authentic to the fact that this is what it takes, because I wouldn't want to just sell someone that thinks that it's going to be an overnight thing and then they're paying for a course or a training or coaching where they're not getting results because of the lack of expectations that was set for them to begin with, right? So I also would want to attract someone that would be willing to commit to the process of learning and understanding sales, as opposed to someone that probably, wouldn't implement, because at the end of the day, I want them to get results. So I wouldn't want someone that wouldn't implement what I would teach them. I also feel like I hold back too, because I'm not sure exactly what women would want from me. So I don't really know how to portray myself in front of the audience.
I think you need to reverse that. What do you want from them? It's the question you need to ask yourself. Because that would already give you the idea of who you want coming inside your profile. I mean, you have a lot more clarity on what to make in terms of your content. So let's ask that question. Who is the ideal woman that you would want in your profile? That should give you some clarity.
Someone that's working a 9-to-5 that's tired, that they want change in their lives, that this particular opportunity can help them when it comes to being able to maybe ultimately quit their full-time job or just bring in that extra income to help their family or whatever the case. Yeah. But I feel like for me also, the audience, or like finding a target, I don't know how to get past that, the broader range of like just a 9-to-5, or create it and have it be more specific too for women.
Yeah. What does she value?
She values her time.
You currently have more freedom. You earn more money, but you are still stuck from a time perspective, because you are still really constantly taking sales calls, being attached to a certain time. I think we should reverse engineer the last question. You are unsure about how you want to show up, but we can ask ourselves that question if we don't know what we value in the women that we want to attract. So imagine that community that you have. Imagine being with the girls together in person. How do you want that group to look like? What do you value in that group?
I would say in terms of value, I want them to be able to feel like they're a part of a community. I would want them to be able to value their time freedom as well, and making sure that they have true purpose to be able to succeed in what their specific goals are as well. So that's what's most important, is that time freedom piece. And what I've been able to create as a high ticket closer, even though I am closing deals, I can still create my own schedule. And I would like, women to be able to have that opportunity as well.
How does that persona look like? Is that a specific persona? Is that a specific person that likes to do a specific thing?
Women that value also their health as well. So they go to the gym. They have hobbies outside of working, or like just going out to nightclubs every evening.
Try to think about the person that you generally want to have conversation with. Not only a random follower that will be on your page.
I think a great way to represent it as well is you have friends, and you have these friends for a reason. Mm-hmm. And I assume you most likely don't have 100 or 200 friends. You have 5 friends that you love and that you would spend time with. Why do you spend time with these people? What is important? What do you value in a friendship?
Right. So it's the energy. Like, I feel like at the end of the day that we're all different people, but we all bring value in some sort of way, shape, and form. And I can learn from them things that I don't really understand or know or am as experienced with in terms of skill sets. So I feel like we take away from each other in terms of like what their values are, as well as what they're good at. And I can learn from them and they can learn from me, and it's reciprocal.
Yeah. And this is actually the best part of creating community like that. Because you're just sharing your experience and your thoughts, your feelings and everything, and you just become a better version of yourself from day to day.
So it's painful to know that you can make an impact, but you don't have the audience that's truly yours. And then as a closer, you don't really stand out. So you're not building your own thing, you're a part of something. And as well, especially as a closer, it's very, very easy to stay comfortable in your own rhythm as well.
Imagine that. If you close deals every day, you're making money, you're making good money, like 6 figures plus per year, but still you stay very comfortable. Have you seen that as a trap recently as well, that you've been doing it for a longer time and you're just getting exhausted? You just want to do more. You want to use your potential.
Yeah. Well, because you get kind of like this, it feels like this closer's high where you close these deals and you're excited and then you fall into that trap. But that also takes away from being able to pour energy into like my own personal clients. So most people start with no proof. I start with real sales results and income that actually shows for it. I've already done the thing that most people can't teach. So it makes it more believable to show my lifestyle as well. I'm a woman teaching women sales in a space full of men. That's a lane that almost no one owns.
The way you have conversation, but also knowing how we can position all of this in package it in one offer with one clear message and with one very good content strategy. Because when you have these three types, you'll be able to position and take your skill, you'll be able to apply it to a better model and attract a better market and make 10, maybe 20 times the amount of money than that you're currently making.
Because the interesting thing is you have the skill, you're very good at talking, it's just the clarity behind the content. People don't know what to do with the content that you make. So they have no idea that you can actually help them in the first place. So if we can actually show what you do and have really strong positioning in the content, it's going to help a massive ton. I think that's the biggest constraint.
You asked me a question about what to post. And I think the easiest way to answer this is by, first of all, identifying your positioning. Because we will never understand what to post whenever we don't understand positioning. So I want to write something down for you, and I want to explain you how this works, okay? This is positioning. Which technically, there are 5 elements that occur in between, okay? First of all, we have initial understanding. The initial understanding is the moment people visit your profile. So they see Maisha and they see your profile. And on that profile, they have 2 options. They have the decision to stay or the decision to leave. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
How clear your messaging is on your profile based on what you've written in your bio, based on your profile picture, and based on what you've written within your highlights, people will decide if they stay or not. So the initial understanding is most of it always visual. And based on that representation, they decide to stay or they decide to leave. Now, what most people do wrong, and what we've seen with a lot of people in this industry, especially women, is that they try to sell very fast. What is one word that you said? I want to make real impact, and I don't want to use fake scarcity. I want to build a real brand that has a lot of impact and that builds a very strong community. Meaning you need to understand one thing very well. We have 5 elements, and I will be breaking down all these 5 elements, so in under 4 minutes you understand the whole core of positioning. You are not going to sell to anyone within phase 1, neither within phase 2, and neither within phase 3. You are only going to sell within phase 4 or within phase 5. Okay? When people have initial understanding about what you do, based on the representation within your bio, your biography, or your reels that they see, maybe even the pin post, they go to the second phase, and the second phase is curious. So people get curious here. This means that they start to look through your reels and everything that you have presented in your profile. Meaning they can see, okay, what does Maisha do? Why should I give her a read? Why should I follow her? Why do I want to watch more of your content? Now, if people are curious, you get them to watch more of your stuff. So if people don't have interest based on that initial understanding, they will never be curious in the first place. So if you make them curious, they will watch more of your content, meaning they'll go into your reels, they'll go into your highlights. But when you have a CTA in your biography, they might watch a YouTube video, a longer form YouTube video, where we go into in a minute, where we can make vlogs or any other type of content based on your life and your situation, your experience. When they are curious, they're going to watch more. And what will happen when they watch more? Is they get full understanding. Okay? When people watch more of your content, most of the time, this is 7 hours of content, they have a full understanding around what you do. If they aren't curious in the first place, you'll never get them to watch any more of your content. So you need to make them curious, right? Which is top of the funnel content. middle of the funnel content makes people actually understand what you do. So it gets them deeper into the pain. Does that make sense so far?
That makes sense, yeah.
Do you have a question about that?
I do. Do you know what the timeline is between the phases?
This depends per person. So it varies per person that watches you. Now, how can you calculate the data around this question? It's by attracting a similar group of women that all have the same interest and want to learn the same thing, which is why positioning is so important. Because imagine we attract one person with a specific desire and then another window with a completely different desire. With one format of content, you won't be able to attract both.
Okay.
So once we figure out our positioning, we only attract one type of women with a specific desire and a specific value that likes to watch our content. When they have full understanding after watching your longer form videos, they know who you are, they know what you value, and they know the pain points that you will be able to help them solve. When that full understanding is there, what's happening is we go into phase 4. And phase 4 is all about influence. Meaning, now the perspective of influence changes to you. In phase 1, 2, and 3, the audience has the power. They can decide to watch you, they can decide to like your post, they can decide to make a payment. But when they have full understanding around what you do, you create influence over them. So now you can decide what you want with the audience that you have. Meaning, as an example, if you make a vlog and you tell people to buy a certain product, they'll purchase that product because you have influence based on the fact that they fully understand. Now, this is the first level where you actually be able to sell anything. Meaning, in the upcoming 15 minutes with Lewis and Max, I want to talk about how we can position our content strategically to go through these phases to get any women that loves to follow you to level 4, because that is the point of conversion where we can actually start selling. And level 5 is decision making. This is where they make a decision.
Okay.
I want to work with you, or I don't want to work with you.
That's actually interesting that this circle that you just draw looks like actual funnel. So it's in parallel with actual funnel. So it's not a circle, it's like this. Because usually, always, on the first step, you have a lot more people. Second step, lower, and in the end, they're only like real customers.
People believe that a funnel is some sort of a landing page or a strategic assignment to anything. But what the funnel basically means is you having the right positioner.
Okay.
I want to go a bit deeper because your main constraint is you don't know what to post. Okay, so Nick broke it down really well. This is exactly the process that we utilize with all of our clients. But we want to understand what your positioning will be. So who is your desired clientele?
They work a 9 to 5. We're getting super specific, maybe ages like 20 to 35.
Okay.
They're super into wellness. So they're like Pilates girls, matcha girls.
You just gave a lot of information there. Would you say that if you matched that type of persona in your content, you will attract those type of people?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. So what Max broke down here is you're going to get a bunch of audience coming into the funnel. And this is what we call traffic. Okay. And the only reason that you get traffic coming into your profile is the content that you make. Okay. Now, if we decide to make content around what you said, matcha girls, yoga, let's say a level of ambition, talking about pain, which is their main thing around 9 to 5. This stuff is usually not possible because they're so time constrained with their 9 to 5, right? So if we connect your lifestyle right? You're a macho girl, you go yoga, you're ambitious, you work like a workaholic in your sales role that you're doing now. And if you can show what you can do, then this will allow the traffic to connect with the right people coming into the top of the funnel.
Because you instantly represent the desire of the girls that want to follow you. So Louis said that well. You, by showing something that they don't have, it creates a real scarcity. Because women that watch you, they want what you have.
Yeah.
Which is instantly the reason why trust is being built and why they would love to follow it.
Yeah. This is an interesting thing, and I won't go into it too much, but there's the concept between B2B and B2C. Because you're teaching people to go into the life that you already have and they want, then the content needs to be a lot more emotional driven. You know why? Because people that are in the B2B space, people that already have what you have a different pain point. They just want to improve what's not working. But B2C, they have no idea what's working and what isn't, and they look to you for clarity. Right? We're going to get into this because when you even make content in the first place, the positioning is important. But if you had a clear position in your mind, but the content itself didn't have enough clarity, then the traffic that you get is also not going to bring in the right people.
So let's walk through that. First of all, we have the demographics. Solved. That's the first point. We understand who we want to target and what we need to do. Second, what Louis said is actual emotion. Now, the most important thing, emotion doesn't always have to be most likely what most people think. Emotion is like sad or angry, but it can also be joy or a great experience, like anything that brings actual value to your life. Now, the most important thing is, I want you to mention 3 emotions that you would love to share with your audience based on who you truly are. Meaning, I want you to tell me 3 emotions based on how you naturally represent yourself.
Okay.
One is humor. I can say that.
Okay.
You're very funny, and also it's easy to have a conversation with you.
Okay.
You're very engaging, humor engaging, like
Yeah.
very nice and easy to talk.
Open-minded. Huh?
Yes, I like that. We'll do it for you.
Yeah, perfect.
I would love to add smart or communicative, like very
Communicative.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because you can genuinely notice it from the right beginning when someone starts conversation with you.
Can I just add a layer on top of this communicative? I think what will help a lot, especially because the people that start something or about to start something, they feel a level of skepticism, not because of you, but because they have an internal fear. So what helps with communication is the conviction behind communication. How you actually portray what you say with the tonality given, right? So I want to just add to the communication, to the conviction that you have within communication. Nick, if you can add that in.
I think communication is a sort of conviction, what you said.
Yeah.
The only thing we're doing here is we help you translate how you feel, how you think, and your experience into reality. Because you already experienced.
Yeah.
You're already confident. You already know what you're talking about. You just need to be able to translate that to other people so they feel the same thing. That is why, as a very simple example, imagine you play golf, right? Somebody might be very good at playing golf, but might not be good as a golf coach explaining it to somebody else, right?
Right.
Even though that person is very experienced, which is why especially a lot of women have problems with building a personal brand, because they don't genuinely understand how to translate what we're describing here into content.
And most importantly, maybe they don't want to do this.
Exactly.
Because it's 2 different ways of development, of self-development in general.
Conviction is one very strong point of being very good at communication. I think we should segment 2 more. One thing that I think is very important to portray into an audience, which I realize is one of the most valuable emotions. It's calm.
and it also portrays your intelligence for viewers, for followers, so they can instantly trust you more because of your natural behavior, actually. So you don't need, it's a good thing because you don't need to act, because for someone it's very difficult part. This is the very difficult part. They press record button and they force themselves to be you, actually, in front of the camera.
What Max said is very interesting, because what our main job is all the time with anybody that we work with, it's not applying a strategy to a person. It's figuring out internally who that person is and how to apply the strategy that that person already owns, but is unaware about, to people, to the market. Because the only way to build a genuine personal brand is by using your own strengths and understanding how you can utilize these strengths and apply that to other people.
I think the interesting thing as well is I want you to feel outside of this session that you're able to take away what we say and have genuine clarity on what to post. Because if we gave you a bunch of different ideas and say, okay, you got to post this type of content, this content will do this impact, you'll run out of those ideas and you don't truly understand why we create those ideas in the first place. So if you genuinely understand who you're targeting, the reason you're targeting them, and you have intention behind the content that you make, you'll have unlimited ideas. And the reason you have unlimited ideas is because you are the expert, right? You know so much about sales. You've done it for so long. So you probably have unlimited, endless concepts that you can speak about, right? And also now you understand who can I connect it to. So meaning that, you know, if you're in the car, if you're going to Macho, if you're on calls, people want to see that, right? The people are invested in your journey.
Yeah, that makes sense. Especially I feel like I have more clarity in terms of how to even start. So the curiosity piece too, and relating that. So you guys would suggest essentially create vlogs that would show more of my personality utilizing these emotions.
There is a difference between a following and a core following. A core following is the people that recurrently come back to watch your content, compared to people that follow you and watch it from a one-off standpoint. And what we are trying to do is we are trying to create a safe area. This whole table here is a safe area, right? It's your playing field. And the only thing we need to do is we need to look at who you are, what you value, and add that to this table. While we're building this table, people either like it or don't, right? While we're building all these elements on this table, we are creating a cult. We are creating an environment. We are creating an energy. And the most important thing is that some people might like and want to join and some people might don't. And those people who want to engage with that energy, with this circle that we're building here, everything, will be that following, that dedicated following that recurringly wants to come back. Which is why, as an example, you sometimes see a creator always get, let's say, 10,000 views. And if it gets 30,000 views, it's a new audience stepping into the existing audience. But these 10,000 people, they will always stay because they're that loyal audience that we're building.
Just to be very clear as well, because you said, you know, should I be doing vlog style, raw clips? And let's actually break that down. Let's say we actually utilized what you just said. Now, if we just create a vlog for the sake of it, you do create attention, okay? But the difference is we want targeted attention.
I think it's great if we go into some real life examples.
Yeah.
Just to represent what is possible realistically. Now, we have content, we have a visual aspect of content. I want to show you a couple examples of the content that you can create and what I think is genuinely applicable to you. First of all, vlog style is very, very valuable. So vlog style content, the reason this is very easy is because it's very bonding. It's easy to create connection. And the only thing women desire that want to buy from other women is connection. They want to become part of something. They don't want to buy something and get a bunch of information, technical information, and then, you know, try to figure it out themselves.
They choose personality more over analytics.
Analytics or logistics or exactly. And automatically, when you're creating content that is bonding to them, you will be able to relate with them very easily. And they will be able to relate with you. right? And that's one very important thing. Topics, the most important thing that I think is great to talk about is you want to create efficiency in the content that you create. So instead of spending a half day thinking, okay, you know what? Okay, let's just talk about this idea, make this content, do that. You are going to make a vlog and you're going to clip that vlog in short form content pieces. You see a difference? If you are a performer, you're setting up a camera and talking to that camera. If you are clipping out a short form piece out of a 30-minute vlog, most likely it's a natural situation happening.
Can I extend what you just said? This is really interesting. I have a question for you. How long can you speak about sales?
I don't think there's an end to it.
Okay, so like literally endless, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And would you say that when you just put the camera on for like 60 seconds, it's actually really hard to film something?
Yeah.
Okay, why?
I freeze.
You freeze, okay? So why can you speak endlessly, but when you put the camera on for 60 seconds, you can't say anything? Because, okay.
Because there's a camera in front of my face.
Okay. Can I give you a perspective on that?
Yeah.
I don't think it's because the camera's in your face.
Okay.
It's very hard, unless you're Leonardo DiCaprio or something, and you can actually put this like acting mask on as soon as you put the camera on, then you can do it. But think about it like this. If you put the camera on and you speak for like 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, you still feel a level of like unclarity in the words you're saying. But then you go into flow state, right? So even in your group sessions, the people that you teach, maybe the first 60 seconds is a bit like cold, but then you warm up to it. You turning the engine on as well. So you'll realize that, okay, it's with everything you do, by the way, a project that you make, a task that you do, like it's very hard to actually go into flow state within a minute or 2 minutes of creating a video, creating a project. But if you actually go through that pain, you'll realize that going through that flow state, you'll be able to make endless amount of content.
I think a great point to add on this is the reason why this is so valuable is at moments you're in your feminine energy, when you're with your girls, getting matcha, going to Pilates. But at moments you're in your masculine energy, you're on a closing on a sales call, right? Both is okay, but it's naturally happening. If the camera is on your face and you need to do something on the spot, perfectionism starts to take over. And that's the moment you kind of go blank and you don't know what to create. Because ideation isn't an actual thing. It's not tangible. Ideation is you naturally being in your energy, whether that's your masculine energy taking a closing call, whether that's your feminine energy going to Pilates, it doesn't matter. It's naturally being you. And that's one of the most important things.
And it's very hard to naturally be you when you just turn on the camera and try to speak for 60 seconds.
Right.
Right? So this is the thing around, I think we discussed in your presentation, is that how can we create undocumented content where you're doing what you do anyway? So I gave this concept to Nick and Max. I said, imagine if what you did every single day, there was a little camera behind you and it documented everything that you did. You wouldn't change the way you speak because the way you speak is just how you speak, right? And then now identify, oh, actually in this day that I had, I said something really interesting, but I just didn't fucking film it. Right? So this is the interesting thing. It's like, I know that there's been probably periods of time that you've been with your friends and you're like, oh, I wish I filmed this moment.
Yeah.
It was so organic. It was so amazing, the concept I was speaking about.
So everything is very, very clear. My question is, how do we piece everything together that we just spoke about and actually implement it?
That's a very good question. Now we have your profile here, and what you do very well is the lifestyle side of things. So people come into your profile and they're like, oh, actually, you're very interesting, but they have no clue what you do at all, right? So the first thing that we want to give everyone is clarity. So let's say this is your profile, okay? Now, anyone that comes into your profile, what I like to say is you want to dictate, okay, what they should do with your profile, okay? So usually the first thing that we do is we try to get them to understand, like Nick said, initial understanding. They come into your profile and you help them with X, okay? So you help them with sales, you help them something in terms of the implementation, And then you give them a level of, I guess, trust building, which is credibility. So you get them to understand why you are the right person to help.
Why do you think that's important?
It's important because I want to make sure that I have a solution that I'm providing for my ideal client.
You said one thing. You might not want to look like the person who just says something they don't understand. So you want to be credible. So it's very important to be credible. And in that second line, as Lewis described, you show some form of credibility.
Yeah. Just before I go into this detail as well, is think about like this. You might get more traffic than someone else, okay? And there might be someone that has only 10,000 followers, but they've optimized their profile in a way that's very easy to understand. And the reason that they understand is because they made it very clear. So they may have 10,000 followers and they make more money than you, and they have a greater community than you, and they have a better offer than you, because people come into the profile for a very specific reason, right? So we need to make sure that what understanding that you have in your brain is portrayed on the profile, okay? The next thing that we usually do is a pinned post carousel. Do you know what that is, before I go into detail?
Is it essentially showing like a slideshow of what I do, or kind of like an about me, but like on Instagram?
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, pretty much. So, you know, okay, the first thing that they do, they probably might see your bio, and then they're like, oh, actually, what's this pinned post on the profile? What the pinned post profile does is it gives them a level of understanding what you actually teach people with, and your frameworks and your systems that actually get them the tangible outcome that they desire, okay? So that is usually pinned here. Then we have a highlights section that is here. Now, I see on your profile, you have a bunch of random stuff, okay? What does this do exactly?
Confuses my audience.
You literally stole the words out of my mouth, all right? It distracts people,
Right.
okay? The moment you distract people, they feel like, oh, okay, I'm a bit like, I don't know what's going on. Confused. And then this what happens. They might, exactly what Nick said, feel confused, also escape from your profile, okay? Because they're like, okay, I have no idea what should really, I kind of understand, but I don't understand enough. I'm just gonna go.
What do you think for yourself is important to put into the highlights that actually
That's a very good question.
More women to feel like that they get value, extract value or understanding from your profile?
Well, for going back to more of my ideal client, I would say more like Pilates, wellness, sales.
What you said was really good, and I'm going to get into it as well. That's what you want to utilize your reels and your actual content for, okay? Anything to do with your highlights, usually we have 3 topics, main topics. One is getting them to understand a general story behind you. The next one is providing some client results. Just like Nick said, they want to see the authority that you have, the people that you've helped. And if you don't have client results, and I'm sure you do because you've helped many people before, is actually using yourself as the case study, what you've been able to do, right? And then if you did have another topic, third topic, it would be anything authority driven. So any webinars that you've done, any podcasts that Nick is mentioning, any in-person events, anything like that. Everything that we just discussed now, that is what we call an optimized profile. Now, how do we create what we call multi-nurturing layering in your content? Okay, there's many different segments of content, and each content piece creates different impacts. So we're going to go into those different types of content that you can utilize in various parts of your profile. Do you want to go into it, Max?
Yeah, sure. This creates first impression, actually. Maybe not these elements. This is the first stage, first impression. This probably even not the second. Even not the second. People go to highlights when they want to know you deeper, from your personality, more about these things that we already discussed here, like social proof, your experience, clients' results, everything. But second of all, after this, they go immediately to your Reels tab here, and they open this grid with content. So for them, it must be clear that you create, for example, this can be one format, like one format. This can be also same format. And for example, this can be also same format, but this can be second format, and this can be second format, and this can also be second format. And after it can be like another format as well. But this pattern must be repetitive enough for them to understand that you that everything you do with intention, with certain intention and your thoughts about it, about your profile in
Just to
general.
extend on what Max said as well, is the topic that you discuss, okay, mixed with intention. So even though the formats are different, your talking point needs to be quite similar, okay? And I know Nick mentions this quite a lot actually, is within your main topic, okay, you have separate subtopics, okay? So within your main topic, you can talk about many different topics that still connect to the same thing while differentiating your content. Now I'm going to write all the content pieces, and if you can explain what each one does, Max, it'll be very helpful for Maisha. So number one thing that we do is Reels, okay? Reels serve different purposes depending on the type of reel that you do, okay? So I won't go into huge level of detail right now, but you have we'll go into that in a second. You have carousels, okay? You have story sequences. You have YouTube videos. Okay, and I think that pretty much sums up the type of content that you make. Maybe the last thing that we can do is what you're already doing really well is your actual posts. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of connected. I mean,
yeah, exactly. I think like more posts connecting to, Nick does this very well as well. Is like your lifestyle a bit, because although you're explaining them what you do and what you help with, people also want to connect to you specifically. So Max, do you want to like explain what each type of content does and the reason behind making these types of videos?
Exactly. What we can do is first we can talk about Reels. It's actually the most popular content piece right now, and followers pay more attention to this exact side. But Reels, they can be different.
So what if I'm posting and at first, while I'm being consistent, I'm getting a couple people engaged, but I don't feel like it's at its full capacity? Or like, what would you say that?
I can promise you that is exactly what's going to happen.
Okay.
Most people in the beginning of you creating content won't like everything that you do, because this is not your profiting phase, right? You have a testing phase and you have a profiting phase. And the only moment you can start profiting if you've tested enough. So you technically bounce off each topic because you can't always profit, because imagine you're profiting, you can't test.
Yeah.
So the most important thing is, if we go into these pieces of content, we have reels that exist out of these three elements. Top of the funnel content, as an example, is philosophy style content, right? It gives a perspective, educational. Middle of the funnel is a mixture of educational, but it also brings a true purpose into nurturing people. I want to be very clear. Nurturing is not conversion. Nurturing is getting people closer to buying. So you have this scope element, this range, right? Call to customer, CC. Now, the most important thing, top of the funnel brings people in. Then you nurture them throughout the content with the middle of the funnel content, and the bottom of the funnel content, which could be a longer form log style, which could be a longer form YouTube video. It might be even a sales pitch or anything that you would love to share. It gets them across the line of actually becoming customer. And that is something that is very important to understand. Can you go over carousel, story sequences, and YouTube videos? I think we can give good perspective on that.
Yeah, sure. I just want to add to the to Reels to the test phase. Test phase, the most efficient way to do it is just to choose, first of all, choose one format that you really feel comfortable to create, and you probably think that people might like it, and you can just try to do this format 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, maybe even more, even like several more videos, maybe 5 videos, and you will see in terms of statistics, because you have like your business profile, you can analyze, you can check how it goes. And if you see that this concept is not good enough for you, because it might be like this, you don't need to repeat this cycle one more time. You don't need to like do 2x or 3x. You just need to switch the format, or maybe switch not the format, or maybe the way how you present it, you can switch, because there is unlimited mixture of formats and how you do this. So it's like the cross. You have format, you have the way how you present it, and this circle is like this, unlimited time, unlimited.
Just really quickly as well, on what you said. Nick made a point earlier today that you need to start at 0. And the main reason he said that is at this moment in time, you have this audience, okay? And this audience isn't going to be interested in the new type of content that you're going to be making, okay? So right now, you have no one in that audience. So your question was, okay, how do I get them to engage, or majority of them to engage more than, okay, maybe just a few, right? What's going to happen is these type of people are maybe not going to resonate with this new content, but the new content that you make might resonate with a new audience. So people coming into this profile, which might be slow in the beginning. Okay, so the more content you make, exactly what Max said, the more data you're going to have, and the more data you're going to have, you're going to also understand the new followers that come in, what type of people are they? If they are the wrong type of people, then we always know that it might be something to do with the content that you made and the words that you say. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Going back to types of content, with Reels we already like covered this. Carousels is literally right now, it's also very interesting because before Instagram didn't pay attention to carousels at all. And right now they provide opportunity for carousels to engage the same way as Reels. But for carousels, it's even easier. It's like clearer structure to understand, because it's like step by step, from 1 to like 10, for example. It's so you can provide people with real value, or maybe it also can be engaging. It also can be about fun, but this fun can be structurized, and this is the most power of carousels itself. So you still can add music, and they still can be promoted as same efficiency as Reels. But if we talk about story sequences, this is how everything changes, when everything changes, because carousels and Reels attracts new audience as well. But story sequences, it's for your existing audience to understand your personality more. It's about deeper connection. And I truly believe that if you don't post story sequences at all and post only Reels and only like even not carousels, and you post only Reels, you don't have this connection, this strong connection with your followers. That means for them to make decision to buy something from you, it's way more difficult.
Yeah, I want to extend on what Max said, because these two bring in the people, right? They bring them in, but how do they stay engaged, right? It's the story sequences. This is what we do to nurture the existing people that come into your profile. And the main reason you do it is to ensure that they're always kept warm, because that barrier to entry that we explained, you asked the question around how quick can they go from this level to the very bottom level, right? So maybe all it took was one story sequence, and you broke down a particular concept, and they're like, oh, actually, I have full understanding. This particular story sequence actually helped me really understand what you helped me with, okay? And then they might see 3 or 4 story sequences where you utilize different types of story sequences, which we can get into as well, that goes maybe into the long form YouTube video that helps them nurture even more. So exactly what Max said is this is the traffic aspect, and this is mainly for people that are already inside your profile. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Reels, as Lewis described, we have 3 elements. So we have the top of the funnel, we have the middle of the funnel, and then we have the bottom of the funnel. Top of the funnel is just to get new people in.
Middle of the funnel is that vlog style content that we talked about to get people nurtured. You get them throughout the process. They're cold and they're a customer. Now, how do you get them from a new cold customer, a new cold person, viewer, to becoming a customer? You get them to watch nurturing content. You get them over the line. Bottom of the funnel content is how you actually get them to become a customer. There needs to be a certain element into your content of why they would really want to pay you instead of just follow you. And that is what you can represent with longer form piece content, like a 2-hour podcast or a longer style compilation or anything that you do based on how you do sales or how you explain your experience. Carousels.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense, yeah.
Which is why you need to have these different elements of content to implement it on each level. So people actually go through the cycle and aren't stuck at level 3.
The best example to give here as well is, let's use you, Nick, okay? So someone comes into Nick's profile. He might run a viral concept reel, okay? So they say, wow, actually this Nick guy is really good at speaking. He has a lot of conviction in his words, right? But then they might go and look at a story sequence. But then they might go and look at a long form YouTube video that breaks down a 2-hour webinar that he mentioned. And then it's like, oh, actually, now I want to work on this guy. Okay, so it's like, now how do you make your content from where like they get understanding to wanting to work with you? And these are the different types of contents that you can actually run within the profile that we've decided to go for to actually get them to purchase. Okay, because the real reason someone buys from you is 2 things. They have a lot of clarity and they'll have a lot of understanding. So optimizing the profile and running these content strategies is what's going to make that happen.
And the element of trust.
This was very impressive, especially when you guys are breaking it down. Like, this was very helpful in terms of clarity, but at the actual implementation piece, you guys simplified it. So it's like, okay, I understand how to act on it now.
What do you think or feel like is missing for you to now dominate this industry?
I think it's just more so getting past, and you guys also clarified this, like, for example, the first 60 seconds. It's like getting past the first 60 seconds of everything that I'm doing because it's so different than what my profile is personally. And then making that transition is going to be the biggest hurdle for me, or roadblock, because it was so overwhelming. But now that I have the clarity that you guys provided, I feel like it's there for me to implement.
I think it's very go over a couple steps. Let's say go over 10 steps that you need to do right now when you go home so you can implement it immediately.
100%. Yeah.
The most important thing is that you understand the concept. So what I want you to do is I want you to rewatch everything that we've talked about today twice. The reason why is because you actually extract the information, you absorb it in your head, so you understand clearly what to do. I want you to take a day to do absolutely nothing and rewatch this tomorrow evening and the evening after again, because the way you take information is different. After you rewatch it, I want you to rewrite your bio based on the 3 different C's that Lewis talked about prior. While you're rewatching it, I want you to take notes about these elements that will come across in the further steps that will take action. After this is done, I want you to write down the 3 threes. Now, what this means is I want you to write down 3 colors that you want to represent in your content that you like. 3 characteristics that we talked about based on emotions and all these levels that we share. And 3 formats. And what you do is you don't change any of this for a period of 30 days. So you now know, okay, cool, I might want to do podcasts. I might want to do philosophy or vlog style. So you know what you want to create, and you'll test it for a minimum of 30 days at least to know if this is what you desire or not. Okay? Very important. And you diverse between these 3 formats. Characteristics is the 3 levels of emotion that we talked about. Now, we mentioned these 3 levels of emotion, so you know very clearly what we think about you. But I want you to do more market research, and I want you to send a message to 3 of your friends where I want them to answer the same question that we have answered together.
Okay.
So you have clarity for yourself on what actually matters. Because the quality of an audience is not something that you decide. It's something that they decide. So you want to ask it to people. 3 colors in the way you want to represent yourself. Now, what I want you to do afterwards is I for sure want you to use vlog style content. I want you to plan out a day with your girls, friends, to do something fun related to these elements
Okay.
in the way you can represent them. Emotion, communication. You might sit down at a dinner to have a chat and you film that, right? You could be joy, open-minded. You know, you go to the coffee shop to get a matcha, be open-minded, talk with people or talk with each other. You might want to go to a Pilates class. So you're just naturally representing the day while filming it. You have something to add on this?
Yeah, I was gonna say, make sure that I mentioned to you is around the attention and targeted attention. Just make sure that you make it relevant to what you want to teach people, right? So meaning, okay, the reason I'm able to go match, the reason I'm able to have these amazing perspective talks with my friend is because I'm doing something that allows me to do that. Make sense?
Right. Okay.
You have to understand the outcome of why you're doing something.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to engage these girls to that same reason of knowing that if they do X, they get Y. And Y is what you're showing, sharing with them. After you created this and you have the fun day, I want you to reflect for a day. The most important thing in the beginning is clarity. And the easiest way to get confused is spinning in your head doing things on every single moment of the day. So the moment you reflect, I don't want you to edit the same video on the day that you record it. You're going to take at least 1, or in the beginning, I would recommend 2 days. Because in these 2 days, you'll reflect and get realizations of how you could have done things better. And I want you to take notes on this. Now, why do I constantly get back to notes? The most important thing that I wish I had when I was starting out was notes and data. And one thing that I forgot when I was starting out is capturing everything. I don't have a lot of childhood-like pictures. I don't have a lot of moments of when I started out. I don't have that. So I can't use that, and I wasn't able to look back on myself or why I will be able to extract value from myself. I'll give you one great example. How do you learn to become the best closer? It's by rewatching your own sales calls, right? If you don't know what you're doing and you aren't aware about how you're moving, you can't improve. Because somebody else can tell you what to do, but the easiest way is to rewatch what you did yourself. So you reflect. Now, standpoint 6 is data. You have information. You have information on all of this. You have it captured, you have it filmed, you have it written down on notes, meaning at this point, you'll come back to us and you tell us, you know what, I've done these action steps. This is the outcome and the result of what we've got.
Also very interesting that people probably, they do these steps probably, but they don't do these steps. And without these steps, this is like this. You can do literally like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the most important thing...
Because this step gives us way more clarity always. Like every time we're sitting somewhere and having random conversation with everybody, we just coming up with the best ideas.
You remember when Max wrote down 1, 2, 3, the different formats? The only reason we ever got to format 3 is because of the way we reflect and the way we gather data to improve on the next steps.
Okay.
Because otherwise you will repeat the cycle. You will be just repeating these reels again, and maybe sometimes you will get results or maybe random like customer, but you never know.
The most important thing about data is not the fact that you have it, it's the fact of understanding why you do something. And this is the most important steps. There are 2 things to it. First of all, you need to understand what you're doing before you can improve it. So the valuable part about reflection is understanding why you're doing certain things and why certain outcomes are happening. Whether they're good or whether they're bad is not the point. It's about understanding why it's happening. Now, you might thought that optimizing profiles is the first step, ABT. But why would you do that if you have no data? If you don't know what to write, you just write something random based on your thoughts and the way you feel. We only optimize our profile the moment we have information to work with. So the most important thing is that we use that information to now go into profile optimization.
You know, the interesting thing that Nick says here as well is usually profile optimization is the first thing that we do. And the reason he did that after data is because if we created something now, you might need to change it in a few weeks' time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, actually, in my head, I wanted to attract this type of clientele, but now my content is attracting this type of person.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, let me make my carousel about it. Let me make my, my highlights about this particular ICP. So this is why we do it after data. It's very, very true.
Because you do it based on data and information, and you don't do it based on thoughts or feelings. Because if you do it based on thoughts or feelings, you would change your bio every single day. Step 8 is the first level of repurpose. We have a vlog, we have information, we have emotion, we have a bio and a profile optimization. Now we can use the information and all the captured movements that we have from our vlog and repurpose it into Reels. So we can grow our page with more top of the funnel traffic, with more people to watch our stuff. And that is how you constantly re-optimize this cycle of information. Because what I want you to do is I want you to re-watch your own vlogs. I want you to re-watch your own stuff, just like you're re-watching everything that we're recording here today. Because the only moment you can improve is if you genuinely understand what you're doing. And the only way to do that is by re-watching your own stuff.
Okay. That's good.
Is there any questions about these 8 steps?
Only the repurpose part. So essentially, that would be after I look at all the data, or is that included within the 30 days?
You look at the data
Okay.
at the end of the month.
Okay.
You understand exactly why you've done certain things and the results of it, whether it's amazing or whether it's bad. And the most important thing, you don't need to create new reels because you already created the long form format as an existence of getting more traffic.
Exactly. Yeah, but also maybe format and how you present, how you position these short form pieces from YouTube can be different depending on, for example, if you'll see that this is okay, this is okay, this is okay, this is not okay, this is not okay, okay, and you will see generally after months of creating content, you will it will be clearly visible.
And the only reason why I can succeed is because I measure based on 30 days or more, not 1 day, not 1 hour, not 5 minutes. You get the wrong information if you measure over a short amount of time span.
If we look in the future, what you said about changing visuals and changing and optimizing how content looks and optimizing how profile looks, after doing these cycles for a certain amount of time, you can also sit with your friends, for example, with your close friends with who you create all these content pieces probably. And you can reflect on your profile, and you can come up with nice idea that will show later the growth of your personality and your profile as well. And this growth is very important for people, for new followers. It's very important for them to realize that you are growing as a person, you are growing with content, you are growing with your thoughts, and that means that for them, maybe they were your followers during 3 months, but they will make decision to buy after that period, when they will see that, it's another step, it's next step.
What have you learned from today?
The most important thing I've learned is providing clarity. I feel like going into this, I didn't have much clarity myself, and I didn't understand how to create that clarity for my audience. So that's one thing. That's like the major takeaway for me, is that clarity piece.
Mm-hmm.